Peter, thank you so much for this talk, or how, I don't know how you can call it, inner journey, or almost meditation experience. Um, what would be your advice to somebody who is now preparing the world after this COVID? What is like that unique message you would tell them?
Uh, in what respect? In terms of going to the marketplace, or in terms of helping people just as like family members, or give me some context and I'll explain.
Yeah, so everybody's saying that the new world will be different after COVID. I also see, in my friend circle, people are like changing, becoming more introverted right now. Some are becoming more empathetic. How do you see this, in your practice of coaching with people? How can businesses prepare for that after COVID reality?
Yeah. See, again, uh, I don't participate in the big budget disaster movie that's out there. Yeah, I focus on my movie, and my movie rocks, and I'm excited. Yeah, we just had our best ever month in business ever in October. We're preparing for a new launch, which is tomorrow evening. And then January, we hope to set a new record. And again, you pivot with the market. The market determines everything. How much is a house worth, for example? Well, it's an easy question to answer. House is worth what somebody's prepared to pay for it. Now, if you're in an up market or a down market, that's going to be quite a discrepancy, but the bricks are the same bricks. So it's all perception. Now, in a market right now, yes, things are changing, and people are starting to wake up to the fact that, yeah, we're going to have to do things a little differently perspective. But I'm not into post-COVID. I think I don't buy into COVID. It's not in my world, But and if the virus is stupid enough to have a go at me, it will go into self-isolation. That's my belief. But when it comes to how the rest of the world are working with it, there's a lot of people right now that are looking for certainty. There's a lot of people right now that are looking for ways to basically be resourceful. And that plays directly into what we can bring to the market. But more than anything, people buy people before they buy their products, ideas, and services. I speak to coaches that are out there right now and say, I can't get any clients. I'm like, yes, because you're uncertain. Who's going to buy certainty from somebody who's uncertain? Right? So, the reason we sold 25 coaching packages this week at $6,500. Why? Because people know that I can deliver that, and I have absolute total conviction that I can. And I think it's cheap. You want to hire me as a personal coach? I'm $100,000 a year. That's cheap for the value that I know I can add. Right? Because I hold myself at that level. Now, if you want to see an area where people destroy themselves, it's the area of self-image. And one of the biggest challenges with that is that society has conditioned people falsely to combine their self-worth with their net worth. And it's the biggest mistake you'll ever make. I came out of prison, broke, virtually bankrupt, $350,000 in debt when you added all the other stuff to it, and absolutely excited. Why? I've got the opportunity to go again. Well, I'm not going to take it with me. Never see a hearse with a roof rack. So I have a different contextual relationship to the game. I don't take it so serious. That allows me to play more rather than try to force my hand. And the only people that tried to take it with them were the Egyptians. And what happened? We dug it up and stole it. Right? So it comes to the fact that, listen, I know the pain people are feeling right now. But right now, what is going to get people out of this mess is not some external new widget, 5-step plan to blah, blah, blah. What's going to get them out of this is a sense of inner resourcefulness that says, listen, if this is all I got to deal with, let's go have a chat with my great-grandparents that were sat in a bunker when the bombs were dropping, that didn't know that would die of septicemia if they were pruning roses in the garden and got pricked and it got infected because there was no antibiotic. Let's get a reality check. We're one of the first generations in human history that has food certainty. My parents had rations in the war. Right? And we're scared of some invisible little bug that's going around masquerading as flu that the media is trying to scare the crap out of us with because it gets eyes on so they can justify rate card and then force vaccinate people to, into some sort of dystopian future. Not my movie. Doesn't exist. Not my scene. It's being filmed in a different lot over there. Now, occasionally, some of those film extras that are starring in the Corona movie are a little lost and they walk into my scene. Right? But that's okay. I send them love. But I'm not focused. I'm having a blast. I'm having a great time. I'm having one of the best times I've ever had in business. All right? And that's down to outer world follows inner world. But just understand that what people are looking for right now, their pain point, people are way more motivated to solve pain than they are to go towards pleasure. If you doubt that, set fire to the bedspread when you're making love and see where you want to go. All right? It's like there's a lot of pain out there now, which means people are far more motivated to pay their attention to something that can solve that pain. That's an entrepreneur's dream. Not capitalizing on misery, that's a different frame. I'm on about being able to bring a solution to people who are grateful for it. Does that make sense, Johan? Cool.
Anyone? Niall?
I mean, Peter, that was very powerful and touched a lot of nerves for me. So, I mean, I made quite a few notes, but they're notes that I think will, I need to think about how that's going to change, and I think it will, me personally. Something you mentioned, which I think for me brought several of your points together, was be the example of the invitation and then let go when you've given them an invitation.
Right.
So it's perhaps a little bit more about content and how you get that to more context. So quite a few clients, they bring me in and really push to focus on content. And I see, and even before this, but it's made it very powerfully obvious that it needs to switch to context as well, even as a business level. In your experience, working with maybe business clients, how do you, I'm sure they're inviting you to bring content in. Is there a way that you switch that narrative to focus more on content when you're in the business development process?
Yes, a lot of it comes down to why, because content is always their perception of what vehicle will get them to a destination. So switching the focus back to the destination, you can have various different ways to get there. They just happen to be set on one particular roadmap, which is their content, if you like. And coming back to, is it really the destination you want? Why do you want that destination? What are the values of the business and how do they tie in with that? Is this a short-term leg, or is this a long-haul game? And so context is chunking up and then looking down from a different place. And when you can start to shift away from the mechanics of it, which a lot of people get excited about because it's tangible and they can they can associate themselves and measure it. We forget that it's only a vehicle. It's like you ask people, what do they want? And you'll hear the same stuff over again. I want more money. I want a better relationship. I want a better body and all the stuff. Why? Every single time, it's because when you follow it along, okay, which means what? Which will give you what? Which will give you what? Every single time you follow that rabbit to the end of the track, it's so they can have a feeling. It's the feeling you want. You don't want to be rich. You just want to have a feeling of abundance or certainty or freedom or whatever it may be. And you think being rich will give you that because you haven't spent enough time with the kids I spent time with in Africa to realize that you don't need money for that. You think, oh, I want a soulmate. Why? Because you feel that will give you a sense of connection, purpose, meaning, and love, for example. And not understanding that the number one rule of relationships is that nobody can ever love you more than you love yourself. But, that doesn't sell books. So, we'll figure something else out. Just like the number one rule of personal growth, guys. Pete's rule number one. People can never rise above the opinion of themselves, ever. That's why your job is to be the example and then inspire people. And again, some people are quite happy being quite happy being unhappy. They like their little soap opera and their victimhood and their stories because what it does, it gives them a permission to avoid courage because their sense of avoiding failure, which will trigger the fear that they're not enough, the primary fear, is bigger than their sense of optimism about understanding that nobody cares, right? And so you have to be the example for that. And it starts in the mirror. And again, you're in your movie. Forget everybody else. As Einstein said, there's no out there. And we could spend 3 hours here going into digital physics and quantum equations to validate that, but that's probably not why I'm here, right? But when it comes to shifting people's relationship to the argument, context is definitive. And then you just get closer to what the meaning is.
Yeah, right.
Not the mechanics.
And the movie analogy is brilliant as well. I mean, that's very, very powerful. So thanks.
Welcome. So that's one of my upcoming books is called Life the Movie.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Dada, did you have
yes, I mean, I can only add to what Johan and Neil said about, this was just wow. Like I couldn't, just let go of my smile, thinking how everything is just falling together. Everything what you said is like an amazing story and an inspirational one. So thank you so much for that. Super, super excited to have been here. I wanted to ask you, how long does it normally take, and if it's at all possible, to actually train that inner world of a person from a negative pessimist who is swimming in goop to actually projecting the inner world to, kind of that the outer world follows? Is it possible to do like in a lifetime?
If it isn't, we're pretty much screwed. And are we talking ourselves or others here?
More others. I'm a very kind of innate optimist with a lot of passion and motivation, but others, and also maybe like to kind of concrete maybe for myself, what are your key 3 exercises for training it even more so? Because from personal is like, I feel right now that I'm not doing enough to build up the strong inner world so that the outer world follows. Just kind of a dip in the journey.
It's all conditioning. Yeah, we are essentially designed evolutionarily to adapt to our environment. Now that's easy. If you go to put somebody in the gym, they're going to develop biceps. You put them in McDonald's, they're going to get triceps. Right? So yeah, when it comes to the outer world, the body doesn't care what environment you put it in. It's going to adapt. That's its job. And we get that in the physical rule set. But what we don't understand is that the non-physical rule set operates more powerfully. You become who you hang with. Case closed. You hang around with 9 recreational drug users, I've got news for you. You're most likely going to become the 10th. You hang around with 9 high achieving, high possibility thinking, high conscious individuals that look at life through the lens of how we can, not why we can't. You're most likely going to become the 10th, or they're going to kick you out of their peer group. All right. So, peer group is everything. How we surround ourselves is everything. Now, and this is something that most people are just not aware of, and it's a missing link in personal growth, is that while we get that the body adapts to its environment. For example, if I live in a hot climate, which I do, I'm here in Tenerife right now, I just live in Dubai, I'm a sunshine junkie, then I go to England, I'm going to feel a lot colder than other people wearing t-shirts, even though I've got a jumper on, because I haven't acclimatized or adapted yet. Now, here's the thing. While my body adapts to its external temperature environment, your cells, you have 70 odd trillion cells in your body. They have something called receptor sites on the outside. Now, as a result of that, those receptor sites are feeding back information to the cell to adapt to their biochemical environment. And for example, if you drink a lot of coffee, then you'd be used to a sort of high caffeine, high cortisol level environment. And that means that over time, you can drink an espresso before bed and still sleep. Whereas you take somebody that's never drank it and give them an espresso or a double espresso, it's fun to watch. Right? Now, wired out of their brain. So your internal environment adapts. Now, here's what's interesting. Every thought you think produces a chemical, a neuropeptide, a hormone, neurotransmitter. And depending on the level of thoughts that you have will determine the quality of the internal weather that is being produced in your body. With me so far? Yeah. So you think positive thoughts, happy, upbeat, you're putting in biochemical sunshine, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. You think depressive, complaining, low-level energy-based thoughts, and guess what? You're putting in the weather equivalent of snow, sleet, rain, cortisol, adrenaline, etc. So if your cells over time, like your body, adapts to its consistent environment, then guess what? If you're used to thinking negative and you then start trying to think positive, you go to a seminar, you read a book, you get inspired, or it's January 1st, you're just like, you know, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, I'm going to change. And you're serious. And you go out and you set goals and you change your diet and you do all this kind of stuff. But then that little voice of self-doubt creeps in. Then you start questioning yourself. Then you start self-sabotaging. Why is that? Well, it's what most people don't know. You have cellular inertia that is built up because if all of your cells are used to wearing scarves, hats, gloves, for example, because you've been thinking snowy thoughts, and now all of a sudden you're putting in sunshine. I've got $1 million question for you. Based upon the law of the path of least resistance, is it easier for 50, 70 trillion cells to change their wardrobe or for you to change your mind? And while I'm using weather as a metaphor, those chemical messages are absolutely real. They go either chemically through the hypothalamus or through the nerve impulses through the spine to the back of the head. And that shows up as self-doubt, confusion, anxiety, questioning, procrastination, all of that kind of stuff. And then we try to get over it with motivation and wonder why, the cells are just laughing at you. See, when I went into prison, I had 50 trillion cells that were used to sunshine. They're chilling on the beach in a mankini. Bad thought, scrap that. Anyway, right, you get the idea. They're wearing budgie smugglers and shades and doing what they do. And now I'm putting in like depressing thoughts and negative thoughts. They're like, whoa, hang on a freaking minute, right? We're not going to settle for this. Get rid of that snow crap. We need sunshine. That's what we're used to. So most people's, and here's what I'll finish with, most people's bodies wage biochemical warfare against their potential. Not because they're not good enough, not because they're not smart enough, not because they were born on the wrong side of the train tracks. And if you had my mother and she was an alcoholic and you had this and my boss is a jackass and all the, none of that crap. That's just the story you tell yourself because you don't understand the reality. The reality is you've just got some cell inertia that takes about 90 to 120 days of consistent higher level thoughts to be able to change their wardrobe when they say, whoa, hang on, she's serious about this. All right, let's send her another dose of self-doubt. No, not taking it. Damn, guys, we better go change our wardrobe. Right? 50 trillion cells over to Walmart. You get the idea. So everybody can change, but then you've also got levels of consciousness. Some people aren't ready yet. Buddha wasn't born enlightened. He was born Prince Siddhartha. Had to go through his own journey. Nobody starts college on their first day at kindergarten. Right? We're on our own journey. And so, is it possible to change? Absolutely. But if you're focused on being egocentric, where it's about you, it's a far tougher deal. And most people are focused on themselves right now because they're being forced into a survival mentality by a mainstream media. Right? Don't get me started. I've got videos on YouTube 10 years old that'll talk about the business model of the media. Let me just say that if any of you still believe what the mainstream media tell you, please raise your hand and now slap yourself with it. All right. You cannot consciously filter. All right. My last metaphor, and then I'll turn it over because Nikki knows I'll just keep talking. All right. Your conscious mind, your neocortex, the crowning achievement of human biology, the seed of the executive decisions and critical decisions you make, the front of the brain, is like an ant. It's industrious, it's hardworking, it's marching towards its goals. It went to a personal development seminar for ants last week. It's hired an ant coach. All right, it's marching north towards its new goals. Problem for most people, my friends, is that it's marching over the back of an elephant, your unconscious, that's striding south. And your ant's going to tell you in a loud voice that you deserve the body and the relationship and the health and the money and everything else. But your unconscious patterns that have been there since childhood or programming from the outer world, if you don't know how to turn your elephant around, then and that's consistency. It's total consistency. You've just got to say, listen, if you're looking for a quick fix in a sprint, sprinters fail, marathoners win when it comes to human behavior. Unless you have a significant emotional event whereby everything just gets electrified. And for most people, that's usually negative than positive, unless it's like a near-death experience, which usually then shifts people out of their lethargy and apathy into a different trajectory for focused on others instead of themselves.
Peter, I have a question. There's a German word called Fahrwasser, which is basically the current that pulls you in directions. Goes pretty much with you become the average of the 5 people you hang around with. But also things that happen around you that somehow pull you in. It's like in San Francisco, I'm a super positive guy. After 4 weeks in Vienna, I go like, oh, I'm not sure about things. So it's kind of a real thing that happens around you, even though your personality is tuned differently. So you really have to be very conscious about where you are and who you surround yourself with. But above this, there are these little things from everyday discipline. And that's something that I'm suffering right now personally. I feel like I'm very undisciplined. I want to get up. I don't know. When do you get up in the morning?
Seriously?
Yeah.
This morning, 4:45.
I don't know any successful person who gets up later than 6:30 or 7. And my best time to get up is 6:30, because I go to bed with living in PST, so 9 hours back at the same time with Central Eastern Time. So my days go until 1, 2 in the morning. So I get up at 6:30. That's a good time. But right now, I feel like today I got up at 6:45. That was really good. And I start being very unsatisfied about myself. I feel like, hey, Nikki, you can't get up at 8 or later. This is not, how can you achieve anything if it's 8 and you're still in your bed? How do you cope with this moments of when you're looking at your self-discipline and you have to commit that you're not where you want yourself to be?
Well, again, let's chunk up a little more, because the self-judgment around that is worse than the lying. Raising your standards is raising your standards. But if you think you're having to do it to get to the end of the rainbow in order to feel good enough about yourself, you got the cart before the horse. Now, again, in today's society, it's a little tougher because there's so much fear porn that's just being vomited all over humanity right now for nefarious levels of agenda. And yeah, I don't participate, as I said. Yeah, I won't wear a mask. I haven't worn a mask on my last 9 flights. Yeah, since I don't know, because masks control people, they don't control viruses. And sometimes you got to play the game to win the game, but that's just part of part of the understanding. If you're free thinking enough, you can do that. But my point being is, if you are, I'll give this analogy, it'll come clear. If you are in the middle of a river and you're a sailor, you've got your boat, and it's a wide river and there's no traffic and the current's slow, it's a nice day, you don't really have to pay a huge amount of attention to what you're doing. You're glancing here and there and you're playing with the wheel a little bit, whatever, right? But if that river narrows, if all of a sudden the current picks up, there's a bit of rapids around, there's some traffic or pirates or whatever it may be, you better be a lot more vigilant. Now, I say to my students, a year ago, if you're meditating 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, great. River's wide, current slow. Right now, it's a different game. There's a lot more fear-based energy out there. If you were meditating 20 minutes a day, you've got to be doing 40 right now. It's time to be vigilant. It's time to step up. If you were just glancing at the news because you've got to turn the damn thing off. All right. If you were entertaining people's victim stories because they're just a friend and I don't want them to reject me, you've got to step up. Right now, more than any time, this is the trials for the Olympics. You can't afford to be messing around in the gym on thinking it's a personal trainer session. Right. So, from that perspective, you need a context for understanding that, if you're going to move forward, in Earth School, you have graduation events. You have what I call BLTs, basic life tests. Right. It's part of the game. So for me, a morning routine is a huge part of what I do. I have a 2.5-hour morning routine, and I look forward to it. The mood you get up in is the mood you go to bed in. Right. The mood you go to bed in is the mood you get up in. So if you're going to bed, it's like 2 a.m, you look at the alarm, it's 5 o'clock. It's like, oh God, I got 3 hours. I'm going to be a zombie in the morning. Right. I already know that you're going to do the snooze button hokey cokey. All right. If you boom, wow, I'm tired, but it's my favorite kind of tired, which is, exhausted, but victorious. What a day. And I'm getting up tomorrow to swing the bat because I'm grateful to be here. All right. You fall asleep with that mentality, you'll be springing out of bed before you're awake. All right, so again, you set yourself up to win. If you go to the gym in the morning like I do, then set yourself up to win. Before you go to bed, put your gym kit at the bottom of the bed. If you got to go hunt for it in drawers and cupboards and stuff, you're going to find an excuse before you get there. My ginger shot, which I have first thing in the morning. I freeze my ginger shots. I do a month at a time, and then I just pop one out of an ice cube tray, a big ice cube tray, into a glass and put it at the side of the bed, so it's thawed out for when I wake up. I set myself up to win, and then it just becomes habit. Why? Because you said about hanging around. I'll sum it up for you in 3 words: environment beats will. And Dorothea, the 5-second rule. I could save you reading the book, because you could sum the book up in 1 page and then spend 250 pages, pretty much, just clarifying the same 1 page. But the 5-second rule. By the time it makes it to your conscious mind to find an excuse, because guys, and I'll finish on this because I need to crack on, but understand, know your enemy. The mind has a specific job, and it is damn good at the job. The mind's job is to justify. Have you noticed that? And why and what will it justify? I'll tell you. It is designed to justify your current emotional state to be in line with your behavior with your emotional state, which is why when you're tired, its job is to find the perfect excuse to not get up. If you're angry, it'll find the perfect excuse for you not to apologize. Now, once you understand that's just its job, is to align your behavior with your emotional state, you can see it almost, it's just what it does. Whether you act on that then becomes a values deal, and your values should be linked to something that's bigger than you. Why are you doing this? And I know why you do this, Nick, because you're on here, same as I'm trying to help people, trying to make a difference. You live for the feedback that you get from lives that you touch or change or help. Those ripples of contribution that go across the ocean of humanity will touch shores we will never know. And that's what drives us to do what we do. That's why I get up early and stay up late. It's the essence of what it means to be human, to be able to grow and contribute beyond us. That's why you see people running a marathon for the first time. There's way more people that succeed that are running for a charity, a fallen colleague, a relative in trouble, or whatever it may be, raising money for something they care about, than there are people trying to run it so they can brag to some girl in a bar that they ran a marathon. Right? So, from that perspective, my first question, if you're feeling unmotivated, is to check in. Where's your why? Where's it gone? What are you focused on? Have you forgotten the reason you started this? Are you focused on the content and forgot the context? Is it time to revisit? Is it time to grow up? Is it time to step up? Who are you going to be an example for when the alarm goes off? What kind of example do you want to be for your young daughter or whatever? To say that, when daddy was the most tired is when he was the most energized. Because I knew why I was here and I wasn't being talked out of it. Certainly not by a freaking alarm clock. Does that help?
I'm making notes. Yes, a lot. We surpassed the top of the hour by far. Thank you so much. What a powerful session. You're amazing.
Guys, thank you. No, I don't take your time lightly, and I appreciate you being here. And as I say, anything I can do to contribute, I appreciate you buying everybody a book. That was a nice touch. I'll organize that. And guys, please stay in touch. I'm easy to find on social. I'm always putting content out that's designed to help people. And if there's anything else you want to
also, I don't know if you want to plug the EMF.
Well, EMF is my 6-month high-level coaching program. That's for serious people that really want to transform. We're doing a webinar on that tomorrow. But I also have I created something for this environment in terms of the global environment right now. I want it to be the most affordable, impactful transformation program, because a lot of people are struggling right now. Most people can't afford the $6.5K for EMF, but if they can, it's a steal. But I was with South Africa for a few hundred people last night, and I shared with them the ultimate self-mastery program that I do, which is stellar. I mean, I designed this. It's $500 a month worth of value. I charge $49 a month. And that includes a call like this with me every single month and a piece of content every single week that's usually valued, somewhere north of $100. So again, you're talking $400 or $500 a month plus the coaching. And I charge $49 for it because I want to help people. Now, there's got to be some level of exchange because, guys, we know if we don't pay attention. So there has to be some level of exchange. But I couldn't make it any less than that. And if you really want to get on a train where you're retraining those cells to be a completely different level of inertia, USM was designed for that. It's a 12-month program whereby we deliver $5 grand worth of stuff for $49 a month. It's Yeah. Go check my website, petersage.com. You can have a look on stuff like that. I'm not here to sell anything or pitch anything. If it speaks to you, if it's right, great. You know, I was here today to show up and just, you know, give you some wisdom of some of the mistakes I've made and some of the lessons I've been fortunate enough to learn.
Thank you so much for this. I'll connect you all and also direct you to the website and more information about both programs. Peter, amazing program, amazing hour. Thank you so much. All the best from cold Vienna to a lot warmer.
Thank you.
Well, keep doing what you're doing, guys. Again, you have an incredible opportunity to be examples here, and I have every confidence in your ability to do so. So stay amazing.
Thank you.
Have a good one.